Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. It is the first Friday of May. Incredible. We're almost halfway through the year, really. It's just bizarre. But first Friday of the month means it's time for our monthly masterboard challenge. I hope you're ready for this one. I had another idea in mind for this one, and then on one of those nights where I wasn't sleeping, I came up with another idea, and it was like, oh, I really want to do that. So we're going to do it. Not something I've done before, so hopefully it's fun. What you will need for today is some sort of backing sheet. It doesn't matter what it is, because you will need to cover the back of it. So whatever you use is just kind of to hold your pieces together, and then it will be further backed. And hopefully I'll remember to explain why we're doing it that way round and not just going with a writable backing sheet to begin with. Also, you will need playing cards, just regular old playing cards. I would have liked to have used old ones that, you know, were tatty and discoloured and all that, but I couldn't find my stash of them. I know I have them. I could not find them. So I've got these M&M cards. They're all pristine, white, new, shiny. Not typically the thing that we liked, is it? We typically like something that's a bit aged. So I am going to age mine up instead. You can use either side. So if you had something on the back that you liked, or if you wanted to mix and match with different sets, perfect. I would have done that if I could find my stash of old cards, but I don't want to do a masterboard of the backs of these. It's cute, but yeah, I don't want a masterboard that's emblazons M&Ms all over it. So I'm going to use the number side. Please excuse me, a little bit frogginess creeping in there. So I have already distressed up a bunch. And by distressed, I mean I have sandpapered them. So let's go ahead and do one on camera. I may need more than this, I may not. Just a bit of fine sandpaper. This is already quite worn. And just rubbing it all across the surface. So twofold purpose in this. One is it instantly gives it a bit of age, and then I just wipe the dust off on my leg. So my trouser leg is looking a little bit dusty and white at the moment. But also it gives something for inks and such like to adhere to. It doesn't like so much the shiny surface, but once you kind of scratch it up, it will take things better. So I've also got a metal file here. This happens to be a triangular one, which is really interesting. And you can distress up the edges a little bit more if you want. If you've got one of those distressing tools, again, just get rid of any dust that you create. Or you could use an emery board or the sandpaper if you want to just give it a bit more roughness around the edges. I've done a few of them, but I'm not going to bother doing all of them because I've got things to do. I don't want to be here all day. I would recommend going for ones with more on them than, I've got a 2 here somewhere, rather than ones like this that are like have this vast amount of white on it. We want interest in our masterboards, but I've got a remedy for that. Also, they do have rounded corners, so either you'll end up with a gap if you kind of lay them. I don't know, as I said, I haven't done this before. Let's just give it a go. So if we put 2 side by side and then one across the top, we will have a little gap there. Little gap. Now, 2 things. We could either keep that and use it as an interesting feature, or we trim it down to trim off the rounded edge. I think it's not something I considered until I put it down, and then it was realised, oh, they've all got rounded edges, dilly. Trimming it off flat. Did I even cut that straight? Not quite. I think I let it go as I was trimming, and the pressure of the cutter actually skewed it slightly. Because it's only slightly off. It's a bad habit. I tend to ease off on holding it down and then things shift. So that's, go whichever way you like. I cut down a bit deep on that one, so I cut into the 9. Yeah, I think I'll probably trim just to avoid having that hole, because when you write on the back of it, your pen could, you know, find that hole and that dip and create a hole in your journal card or whatever you use it for. So let's go ahead and chop some of these. This is what happens when you have an idea in the middle of the night and haven't actually thought it through or given it a trial run. You have little issues. You could also trim off the side if you didn't want to do the top and bottom. That's also an option. So the size of your masterboard, up to you. Make it as big or as little as you want. It also depends on how many playing cards you might have at your disposal. So work with what you've got. We are making a masterboard, so you'll need more than one card. Just as a little heads up, you'll need more than one. Okay, so sorry, I should have thought about this and done it off camera, but never mind, won't take long. And I'm trying to mix up black and red, so I've got a good mix of both of them. Ooh, still got a bit of sore shoulder and neck, which is a little bit draining. I did sleep well last night though. I don't think I got up at all in the night. I think I just slept right through and didn't really want to get out of bed this morning. It was like, oh, is it morning already? But however you do, you just kind of suck it in, swing your legs out, and up you get. Right, I might as well trim all of these because I think I'll probably need all of the ones that I've pre-sanded. So one more to do. Tell you what, guillotine just makes this whole process so much easier than if I was doing it with scissors or a ruler and knife. Fabulous. Okay, I suspect that I'm going to need more, but let's go with this. You will also need a strong glue for this because these are a light cardstock. So glue stick, by all means try it, but I don't think it's going to be terribly wonderful at holding these down. So I'm going to go straight in with the tacky glue. If you're worried about it adhering, you could also use double-sided tape actually. That's an idea. Do I want to use double-sided tape? No, I don't. You could also sand the back if you're worried about glue sticking, but I am just going to roll on in with the glue. If I have problems, I will just fix them. So do what you're comfortable with, what you're happy with in terms of its lifespan and everything. So I'm just using butcher paper here or newsprint paper as my backdrop. You could use newspaper, absolutely fine. This is one that I used as a backing to catch the bleed through of one of my pens. So I don't want them all to just be side by side because I think that's going to be really boring. So I am going to look at altering direction and overlapping them and creating some fun. So there will be a bit of trimming and cutting and loose measuring going on. So I'm going to start though just by lining up the edges there, because that's a good way to start. Put that one there. Oh, what am I doing? I missed a step. Whoa, if you're crafting along with me, hold your horses. I got distracted by how my neck's feeling and just like completely lost the plot then. Okay, these are supposed to be distressed. So before we go any further, I'm going to dirty them up because I don't want them white. Because I think white is just a little bit kind of boring. So I'm going to use a combination here. That's Vintage Photo. I'm going to use Ranger Archival Coffee. That's what I'm using on this one. Just to give it a bit more variety so it's not just all the same shade of brown. And you can see some of those scratch marks starting to come out. Well, I can. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. So we've done those two. Minimal difference I feel in the colour, but that's okay between those two inks. I'm also going to be using sepia and Distress ink in Ground Espresso. So before we glue some down, let's do the distressing. And you can do it on your backing paper because it's going to be covered. So I just didn't get the edges of those inked like I would like. You know, I want the edges a bit darker than the fronts, but that's all right. So this is one where I do recommend distressing just to add interest, and you could do whatever colour. I'm using browns. You could use pink or whatever floats your boat. If you've got a colour themed journal that you're working on, grab out the matching ink and go to town. Or you could do like rainbow effect. You could do all sorts of colours and just mix and match to your heart's content. So it's a way that you personalise it and make it your style, is by what colour inks you choose. So I am giving these a moment to press down just so that that glue really sticks nicely. Let's do one in sepia now. Grab out. Got all sorts of inking tools here. So this sepia is more orangey. Not my favourite tool for smooshing around the top because you get some edges from the sponge, but that's all right. It still works, and it just gives it added texture really. Maybe I'll do this one over here. I'm just going to lay it down. I'm going to have to patch some gaps, but that's okay. That's fun in my book. I don't mind patching gaps, cutting to size. Do like a good paper patchwork or card patchwork as it is. I'm just going to randomly choose about there. And this was coffee, so I'm going to do another one in coffee. Let's go. No, I want to do this gap. Spade. mark it off. Ooh, the pen doesn't even want to work on the back of the card, but I can make enough a dent. I think I should be able to see that. Okay. Hopefully. Where is it? There. Now, which way round did I have it? That must have been this way. Yep. What sponge? I was using this one for coffee as well. I'm using this for the coffee and for the ground espresso, which is probably not such a great idea because the ground espresso is going to outweigh the coffee colour, but never mind. Grab out another sponge, I guess. Right, it was that way, wasn't it? Actually, I might put it around that way. Okay. So hopefully you will like this. I haven't seen a masterboard made with playing cards, and I just thought it was an interesting concept, something a little different. You know, I've seen masterboards with postage, if I can get my words out, postage stamps, labels and those types of things, but I've never seen a playing card one. So hopefully you'll join in for the fun. Okay, I feel like I'm going to get a bit inky because I'm rubbing it, and I'm going to rub some of the ink off because they're not completely matte. There is still shine to them. This one, yep, let's put that bit down there. Let's go sepia. So just collaging up your patchwork of cards. Oh, I'm getting hungry too. It's close to lunchtime. So I do envisage that we can trim around the edges. So if you have some that stick out further, you can just chop them off and then ink the edge and be good to go. Maybe I want a diamond. No, I want to use that in a different way, that one. With a diamond beside a diamond, I don't think that matters. Do want to trim it down though. Will a pencil work? Yeah, pencil actually works better than the pen, which I find surprising. Did not think the pencil would work any better than the pen. Right, where's my mark? There it is. I think that's straight. You haven't got enough of the card on to actually butt it up against the guide, so let's turn it round and re-find my mark. Yeah. What colour on this one? Let's go back to vintage photo. Actually, I might give this a bit of a rough around. Get rid of that dust. Also provides a few creases, you know, bent bits. Not that I want them bent as such. want them flat for the masterboard. Darken up those edges. So I hope your week has gone well. When this airs, I will be off heading in to visit my mum, which will be lovely to see her. I haven't seen her since she got out of hospital. I would have liked to have gone on in earlier during the week, but it just didn't work out that way. So it's always reassuring, I think, to eyeball the person, and it's like, yes, they are okay. They're getting there. So yeah, it'll be just really nice, because I still worry and I still think about what if, you know, and it doesn't do your head much good when you're worrying about those sorts of things. Okay, I'm going to run off the paper here, but I'm going to put that down there anyway. Let's go ground espresso. Oh, I like that sound, the kind of sound. It's fun. I really like the way the scratches get picked up by the ink. Just gives it a really nice texture. So I'm not going to do a huge masterboard today. I'm just going to give you the idea. I might continue on off camera, because I think, you know, pretty much you can see what's happening. If I decide that I want to make it bigger than wherever we get up to today. Let's go for another black card. Also, we've got just a very fine gap there. So that's an issue. So I think what I want to do then is to do that gap first and then cut a piece to fit this. Okay, sound like a plan? I was going to turn it upside down. Doesn't matter, does it? Because it's the same either way. Silly. Yes, I can be really silly. Okay, what colour? Thinking maybe the coffee. Let's grab another sponge, because I feel like the last coffee one came out more ground espresso than coffee, and it sure did. This is quite a different effect when it's just the coffee colour, not mixed with the ground espresso. Weekend coming up too, isn't it? Wow, another weekend. No idea what we're going to do. I don't think we've got any plans. Oh, yes, we do have plans. What am I talking about? No plans for Saturday is what I should say. But on Sunday, it's actually going to be quite busy. We have church in the morning, as usual. And then there's a church lunch afterwards, which will be nice. Just a simple soup and bread, which is perfectly fine. What more do you need for a Sunday lunch? And then straight after that, we have to leave straight from that, and we're going to a friend's daughter's 5th birthday party, and I still need to organise a gift. So that's going to be fun. She's such a cutie. She's a redhead, and she's such a wee darling. Right, I'm just going to take a smidgen off the edge there just to make it line up. Does it really matter? Probably not, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I said I was going to, so follow through with what I said. I probably could have just left it and then trimmed it when we cut our masterboard out. So, you know, like I was saying earlier, so I'm thinking about popping that way round. So let's again make a mark. I am ending up with a few little gaps here and there, but I think it will be okay. They're smaller than the corner gaps that we would have had. I mean, this could not turn out, you know, it might not turn out as one would desire. Never having tried this before, you might find that there's a reason why there's no playing card masterboards out there. But hey, I'm willing to give it a go. Are you willing to join me? Of course, if you haven't got playing cards, that could be a bit tricky. You could use any type of playing card though. They could be Go Fish or Happy Families, or Monopoly cards. You know, any sort of game card would be absolutely fine. I did think about using a game like that for this, but I just didn't want, like I've got Monopoly, I didn't want the branding. So I just thought, no, I'll just go with the regular old playing card face. But mixing and matching, so having some with the backs up and then the numbers the other way around, that would be cool too, I think. Especially for ones like this where you have a big gap. If you had something cool on the back and, you know, chose those cards as the ones to be the back side up. Now, which way around did I have this? This way or this way? I don't remember. It's going this way. Seems to fit okay. Is that going to be wide enough? Sadly, it's not. Okay, so this is where your 2 comes into play, but I want a black one, I think. Oh, have I not got a black one? Okay, this is a deck that I have used for other things, and I don't have a black 2. Okay, next option would be a 6. I do want a black card, so let's just give it the royal treatment with the sandpaper. I've taken all the picture cards out. You could totally include them if you want, but I prefer to use the picture cards for other things. And these ones all had a big M&M on them for the royal cards and the aces, so it was like, you know, again, the branding thing. Oh, I need to trim off the rounded edges. Why am I putting the guillotine away? Because I still need it. So if you've got lots of playing cards, then I think this is a cool project to do. If you don't and you want some, then just go look in your local thrift store, op shop, whatever you want to call them. Our local thrift stores, op shops, always have a bunch of them. I typically don't get them because I feel I've got enough. So when I run low, you know, I could have ducked out and picked some up for this process, but I know I've got some around. I just have hidden them on myself. No, I haven't lost them. I haven't buried them. I've just hidden them on myself. As in it's not because I've got a mess. No, I'm not going to claim that. It's funny, isn't it? You have these supplies and then you pop them away and then you go and grab something and shift things around to get at something, and before you know it, you can't find where you actually put them after the last time you pick something up or shifted them to get at something else. Okay, so I think that's enough for this video, just the idea of building your collage. Now the reason why we're doing it on just an interim backing sheet is because of the holes or the gaps that you might have, and that the cards are a light cardstock. So I felt if you just straight backed it, unless you use a heavy paper that's not going to go into those crevices, then when somebody's writing on it, you know, those are going to be difficult to write over and your pen could create a hole. As I thought, if we did a backing sheet, then cover it with something like coffee dyed paper, then you're just going to get added protection. So you'll still feel them, but your pen's not likely to actually fall into the gaps. That's my idea on why we're doing just a backing sheet for the collage before we actually do a proper back. But like I said, if you use a heavier paper, like a thick cartridge paper or something, then you could probably skip this step. The other benefit to using something like this is if you do find that you've got some gaps appearing, you could just cut it out a piece and then redo it. So, and you wouldn't be damaging your nice writing paper, because then you just put it on another piece of paper. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. So next week, next Friday, we'll be making some ephemera with our cool playing card masterboard. I think it's going to be fun. So ones where you've got this big space, if you don't want this big space, then just use those as the ones that you trim to fit a gap. So like you trim it off, you're losing that white. So I've still got the white here. The ink totally helps. You could make it all red suits or all black suits, whatever. Mix up the ink colours, just have fun with it, and hopefully you've got a stack of these wee things to play with. Okay, thanks for joining me. Jump in, have a play, and I look forward to seeing what you do. Thanks so much for being here. Have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.